What is the project that you're doing now with the fertility stuff? Is that like you're writing a book about it?
I don't know yet, honestly. Okay, so I watched that video and I'll have to put a link to it on my YouTube, but like I watched this video and I'm like three-quarters of the way through the video. And the guy is talking about how, there is a decline in fertility. People aren't having children like they used to. And like the people that are making a big emergency about it are bros. Like dudes
Hmm.
and dudes with microphones. And nobody's asking a woman. And he's like, it seems like you might want to ask a woman. And then he
Yeah.
doesn't. And that's why I was just like, oh my God. And I just was like, well, I want to talk to my friends about why they're childless because I have a ton of friends who are childless.
Yeah.
And
And I
so,
found that my closest friends are childless.
really,
Yeah, and I don't know if, I mean, that wasn't intentional. I'm still keep in touch with, I still have, actually, one of my really good friends does have kids, but we don't see each other near as much as my friends without kids.
right?
Yeah, we're close, just, like we do Marco Polos, or we're close, like when we see each other maybe once a month.
Hmm.
But my friends that are childless and I, like, we just like are like every other day, like, being in touch. So
You know what? I start off every interview with asking, what year were you born? So people get an idea of how old you are.
that's 1977.
Cool. What age were you when you got married?
I was 30, 30 or 31. I think I was 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, you were young enough, but you chose
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah, well, I didn't choose not to at first. I was starting a business, and I was actually starting a drop-in childcare center and coffee shop.
Oh,
So
nice.
my plan was to have kids. And I wanted to, because I taught for about 5 years, and I just like I didn't want to send my kids to daycare, so I created this business called Growing Young Cafe, and it has like a play area in the back, and you could do drop-in childcare for like a certain number of hours per day. In North Carolina, it was like 4 hours was the most. And I
Hmm.
had like women dropping off their infant babies up all the way up to like grade school, like doing, tutoring and stuff like that. But then that was in 2008, and it was like the recession, and I just found out I was not very good at business, and we were hemorrhaging money and blah blah blah. And then we moved to Florida, and we started trying to have kids then, and I had endometriosis
Okay.
that was pretty severe, and I had to have surgery for it. And so they determined that I would have to do IVF in order to get pregnant. And I tried that 4 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so about like $40,000
Yeah.
later, yeah, we decided to stop trying.
Hmm.
And it was just, it was a wreck on me emotionally and my body and the shots. And
Hmm.
it was really, really hard. And so 2013, so we tried for about 4 years. When we were living in Raleigh was the last time we tried with like embryos that we had frozen,
Hmm.
and it didn't take. And they just said we fell on the wrong side of the statistics. We ended up moving back here around that time, and we thought about adopting, but my husband didn't really want to adopt, so uh, we decided to have a furry baby instead.
Okay.
So that's kind of my story. But we would have had kids, but like now, like 10 years later, I'm really kind of glad that we didn't, even though it's still sad to me that we don't have this little person running
Yeah.
around that was
Right.
us. Like, I really enjoy the freedom. We've traveled a lot in the last 10 years. And like we've gotten closer as a couple because we have not had this extra responsibility. And um, it made me into a lover of dogs. Like, I didn't even like dogs before.
Oh.
But I had this crazy moment where it was after I had had a surgery again for endometriosis, and they had to take one of my ovaries. and I was 40, so this is 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was after we had stopped trying, but I was still like, I didn't let them do a complete hysterectomy because I was still holding on this little shred of hope. So I had like one ovary in my uterus still, and was just in a lot of pain. And my mom's like was visiting. She said, "Oh, let's go look at the dogs at the shelter. Like you got to see the dogs." I was like, "All right." And we walked in, and I locked eyes with this dog who was not barking, and everybody else was barking. It was a 7-year-old dog, and I was like, "Shit, I think that's my dog." And then seriously, I looked up at the little sign, and her name was Lucy, and that was the name that we were going to name our daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was I just like I texted the picture to Edo, and he's like, "Get her." He was always a dog person. But
Oh.
I didn't get her that day because it was almost like a little bit too much. I was like, I'm just gonna take a day to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we went back the next day and got her. And we had her for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was really like special, like after effect of not having kids
Mm-hmm.
was that like I poured all my love into this 7-year-old dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very sweet. She passed away this summer.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but she lived to a good ripe age.
That is. That
She went
is.
hiking with us, and she was like slept in between us. She was a big German Shepherd. She was a big dog,
Oh my gosh.
but she was the sweetest dog you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can't believe somebody returned her to
Yeah,
the shelter.
I know.
What's wrong with people?
Well, I mean, they could have like been really sick or something.
I think it was that she had like food guarding issues, and like they left her outside a lot, and she was like there were other dogs and there were kids, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think she bit anybody, but I think that it was they were maybe moving to a smaller place or something. But I just felt so sad for her, like not understanding why she would have gotten
Hmm.
returned. I could go
Yeah.
on and on, but she was a great dog.
Well, it was obviously meant to be.
Yeah, and my friend who is a pet and human psychic was like, yeah, this was meant to be.
Hmm.
She could communicate with her.
That's
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, so endometriosis was on my bingo card. I know several friends that had that issue, and also polycystic ovarian syndrome. I have at least two friends with that have
Mhm.
been dealing with it since they were in their 20s,
Yeah.
And then my friend died from ovarian cancer, and I'm pretty sure she would have had some of those problems. She was just very reluctant to go to a doctor. Um,
Yeah, I had a friend too with that she died at 38.
my gosh.
Yeah.
So it was a choice, but it wasn't a choice.
I mean, it was a choice to stop trying,
Right,
and then it was a choice to not adopt.
right.
We always said like if something happened where it was like something happened to one of our siblings that have kids,
Hmm.
because both of us have two siblings that both have multiple kids, that we would take them in if we needed to, if it was something, like that just fell into our lap.
Right.
But we weren't going to go searching
Hmm.
for it anymore. So
Yeah.
we were just kind of happy to have the freedom. Once you get over the sadness of it not working out, you're kind of like there's a bit of a relief
Yeah.
to just to have that freedom.
Yeah.
So yeah. Of
And I
course, all your friends with kids are like, "Oh, you can have mine for for a weekend or whatever." I'm like, "No, thanks."
I've had two people who said I babysat so much I didn't want to do it on my own. I
Yeah,
didn't want to do it for real. And I'm like, oh wow.
and also being in education, like I get my fix of like the cuteness or whatever,
Hmm.
like connecting with the kids. Right now, I'm working with oh my gosh, these four kindergartners that are the cutest thing you've ever seen. And
Oh.
they were prowling around on the floor today pretending to be wolves because we're studying about wolves. I'm
Aw.
like, can we be wolves? And I'm like, sure, go ahead, be a wolf. And it was, I'm like, I mean, that's half an hour of that, and I'm good for the week.
Yeah. Oh, kids are fun and amazing. And
Yeah,
I do
they
like
are.
them. I do like them.
Yeah. But
But
to have one in my house that I have to tell to go to bed and brush their teeth and, to stop hitting their brother or whatever, like, no thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I never pictured it, but it makes sense for my life.
Hmm.
I thought I'd just be, normal, but normal is different in our age, in our day and
Yeah.
age.
Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah. So,
It is still a little bit awkward sometimes, especially when, starting a new job and people say, "Do you have kids?" And I'll just be like, "No." I don't really expand on it, or I might have used to say like I have a furry baby, but we don't right now. But
right.
we're gonna foster, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just to have that, that cuddle time is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
There's so many animals that need somebody to just like help them get to the point where they can be adopted.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another choice of not adopting again right away, but to give ourselves some time to enjoy the freedom of not even having a pet.
You're actually the first person that wanted children that I talked to.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But
Yeah. It turned out to be a blessing in a lot of ways.
yeah, life kind of gives you what you need. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
Exactly.